That's how big this moment is. Why? Because we are officially watching the Kansas City Chiefs championship. While other teams are getting stronger, like the Raiders, who just landed a Super Bowl-winning coach and might bring in a top 10 quarterback, the Chiefs are making moves that could cost them everything. And trust me, we have the receipts. Let's talk about the disaster unfolding. Kansas City had one big problem last season: protecting Patrick Mahomes. Their offensive line was crumbling, and Mahomes was running for his life. They even set a record for pressure in a game they should have. So, what's their big solution? The Chiefs just announced they're using the franchise tag on Trey Smith's massive overpay. Here's why. The franchise tag sets a player's salary based on the average of the highest-paid players at that position. But in the NFL, left tackles make way more money than guards. That means by tagging Smith, the Chiefs are committing a mind-blowing $25 million. Way too much for a guard. And the worst part? They say they want a long-term deal with him. But if they couldn't get it done before, why would they now? Other teams are circling, waiting to take advantage of the Chiefs' mistakes. This move by the Chiefs? It's unbelievable. They're about to pay their guard, Trey Smith, a ridiculous amount of money, more than almost any other guard in the league. But here's the catch. He's not even a top 10 guard. Let's put this into perspective. The Broncos played it smart. They locked down Quinn Meinerz, one of the best guards in the game, for just $18 million a year. That's a steal. But the Chiefs? They're handing Trey Smith a deal worth $7 million more for a player who isn't even in the same league. Don't believe me? Let's check the numbers. Pro Football Focus, PFF, ranked the top guards of the season. You know where Quinn Meinerz landed? Second place with a grade of 86.9. And Trey Smith? Nowhere near the top 10, he scored just 78.8. That's a huge gap. So why would the Chiefs throw money at a guy who isn't even elite? Here's where it gets worse. We've already talked about how Kansas City is in financial trouble. Their money is tied up in just 5 players, and now this deal makes it 6. And guess what? Even with all that money locked in, they still couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes. He was running for his life last season. This mistake will have big consequences. In fact, it might make Travis Kelce's contract look like a bargain compared to this disaster. There's a reason no team has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. And the Chiefs, they're making sure they won't be the first. Winning back-to-back championships is tough, but winning 3? Nearly impossible. Even the best teams struggle to keep that level of dominance. And the Chiefs, they're making it even harder on themselves. Their biggest hope this offseason, that Travis Kelce would retire, freeing up much-needed cap space, but that dream just went up in flames. Let's be real. Kelce is not the same player anymore. He doesn't move like he used to. He's slower after the catch, and he's starting to look like, well, an aging tight end. Just compare him to Rob Gronkowski. Everyone thought Gronk was too old when he retired. Well, guess what? Kelce is only a few months younger than him. And next season, he'll spend most of it at 36 years old, an age where almost no tight end in NFL history has had an elite season. But instead of walking away, Kelce just announced he's coming back. He sent a message live during the Pat McAfee show saying, "I'm not going out like that." And just like that, the Chiefs are now on the hook for $19 million next season, on a player who's past his prime. That's a disaster. So, let's recap. They gave $25 million to a guard who isn't even top 10. Now, they're stuck paying nearly $20 million for an aging tight end. Meanwhile, teams like the Broncos are gearing up to take over the AFC West. This isn't just wishful thinking. The Chiefs are crumbling. So tell me, which of these horrible moves excites you more? The overpriced contract for a mid-tier guard? Or the fact that Grandpa Kelce is coming back for another season? Either way, one thing is clear. Kansas City's reign is over. There's a lot to be excited about right now. And if you're a Broncos fan, buckle up, because things are getting interesting. First, some breaking news. The Denver Broncos have officially been named as a potential trade destination for Deebo Samuel. Yes, you heard that right. the explosive 49ers wide receiver could be in play for Denver. And that's not all. The Broncos are also set to hold joint training camp practices with the 49ers in San Francisco. Technically, it's in Santa Clara, where their facility is, but here's the key detail. The Broncos and 49ers have a strong connection. Think about it. John Lynch, 49ers GM, has deep ties to Denver. Kyle Shanahan grew up in Denver. Their relationship with the Broncos front office is very close. Put all that together, and a trade for Deebo Samuel suddenly doesn't seem so far-fetched. We'll have to wait and see, but the possibility is very real. Now, on to the NFL Draft. Who will the Broncos walk away with? Well, the more I look at this class, the more confident I am about one thing. Denver is drafting a tight end. No, not necessarily in the first round. But this draft, it's absolutely stacked with elite tight end talent. Some experts are calling it the best tight end class in years. Even Miami's top tight end, Elijah Arroyo, said this group is the strongest he's ever seen. And when ESPN analysts are all saying the same thing, you know it's serious. There are at least 5 starting caliber tight ends in this draft, and guess what? The Broncos have already met with 6 of them. That tells me one thing. Sean Payton is planning something big. Last year he bragged about how he could scout quarterbacks better than other teams, and he delivered, bringing in 2 of the best from the draft. Now, it looks like he's about to do the same thing with tight ends. Broncos' draft strategy. A tight end could be the key. The Broncos have been very busy meeting with potential draft picks, and one thing is becoming clear. They have their eyes on tight ends. 2 names stand out: Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. These guys are day one talents, and now a new report says Loveland could go as high as the top 12 picks. That means if Denver wants him, they might have to trade up. But here's where things get interesting. Another tight end, Theo Johnson, hasn't even met with the Broncos yet. Is that a smokescreen? Could they be keeping their real target under wraps? It's something to watch closely. And here's a wild twist. Colston Loveland just revealed his favorite player growing up was Jimmy Graham. Why does that matter? Because if you know Sean Payton, you know he's obsessed with Jimmy Graham. Anytime he talks about the perfect tight end, Graham's name always comes up. Payton even created a special role for him back in New Orleans, calling him a joker, a player who can line up anywhere and create mismatches. Now, Loveland is saying, I model my game after Jimmy Graham. That's huge. If Loveland is still on the board at pick 20, the Broncos have to make a move. He could be the perfect piece for this offense. And while we wait for draft day, there's more exciting news. Denver and San Francisco are finalizing joint training camp practices in Santa Clara. Could this strengthen the bond between the 2 teams? Could it increase the chances of a big trade happening? Maybe for Deebo Samuel? Things are heating up, and I can't wait to see what happens next.